love being the ignorant one because an ignorant one, when I'm ignorant, that puts me in a position and condition to learn.
If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. If this is not your first time on my channel, thanks a ton for stopping by and coming back. Let's get right into the topic of discussion.
Motive of why they're creating and why you are doing the things and decisions that you're making to creatively express yourself in a way that you find suitable. And those who respond to it positively or negatively, they are not necessarily the driving force behind that. Where in today's climate, like we said, it's like 9 out of 10 rappers, they dropping albums and you can tell that the volume is just album after album, and they have every right to do that and make that decision to drop at that frequency. That's up to them. And especially if that's to, say, please their audience, or if that's what their audience requires or requests or demands, then they're just serving their audience, and that's perfectly fine. That typically tends to be the 1 out of 10 to where it actually makes sense, and they're not just sinking costs and not turning a profit, and at the same time walking around like they can big dog. And it's like in business, big bank take little bank. It's never not been that. So it's kind of funny when you get on social media and you brush shoulders and you interact with people who on the surface may have extreme levels of talent. And it definitely doesn't measure or minimize their talent, but there's so much that they aren't doing. And you would think that when they're in proximity with somebody who is doing that and knows that or is in pursuit of that, that they would have the, let's just say it, the intelligence to recognize that and not allow that to get them in their feelings, which oftentimes happens. It's almost like they see that you have it, they don't have it, and rather than ask you, hey man, how'd you get that? Or why do you have that? It just turns into, again, like we call it, the spirit of the big dog. We got a big dog to make it look like we self-made, give no credit, pick and choose. And we do have that right as men to determine who do we want to present opportunity to and who do we not want to present opportunity to. In a sense, it's basic levels of favoritism. But if, let's just say, if you are all supposed to be a crew or a network, and then that type of kind of shady behavior is going on, that's just a recipe for disaster and failure. Because what winds up happening is individuals pick and choose who in the crew or on the team they want to big up, and they wind up bigging up individuals that have less acumen. Everyone has unique skill sets, so let's not get that twisted or confused. But at the same time, it's like, because in the big dog spirit, they feel bigger than that individual, they're willing to big them up because they look at them as lesser than. And so because they feel that they're lesser than, they big them up. They won't big up a person who they feel is bigger than them, which is crazy, because just think of it like an intelligence, right? I like being around smart people, smarter than me, who I can learn something from. I love being the ignorant one because an ignorant one, when I'm ignorant, that puts me in a position and condition to learn, not to just to be willfully ignorant and belligerently ignorant. Nah, ignorant in the sense that I don't know. So in essence, I'm a fool. And because I'm a fool, I'm able to learn and no longer be a fool and not do and move in ways that hinder or limit the trajectory, which is why I often, not to romanticize a lone wolf strategy, but it's cool to be a team player and it's necessary to be a team player. But in the creative arts, especially rap and production, there may become a time where you don't need to be a team player and you just need to do your own thing, because spending all that time and effort, I remember many years ago, I was about 17 at this time. I was living in Bushwick, New York, Brooklyn specifically, before it was gentrified. And back in that time, we would hang out like outside. So we're hanging out on the stoop and some random person that we never met, never seen them before in our life, they literally walked up and said, if you put more time and energy in doing your own thing as the amount of time and effort that you put into trying to help other people, you'd be real bad. And then they just walked off. And of course, they didn't mean bad as in like a bad thing. They meant bad as in a good thing. And that stuck with us for some time because we love to help. Even when sometimes attempting to help, we wind up overextending ourselves with individuals that don't want our help. So it's like, all right, you don't want the help, but I've recognized and identified you need the help, but you don't want it. So I may stick around because I'm interested in helping and not picking and choosing only wanting to help those who need the help, who recognize they need the help. So it turns out that trying to help those who need your help, and you have the knowledge or the skill set to help them, but they want to fight you tooth and nail along the way, at some point, you got to walk away and not invest that energy. And the way that ties into that story from many years ago, that energy and effort into helping somebody else, when the real deal in the core is can't even help ourselves. And that's where it gets really fascinating. Can anybody, rapper, producer, regular human being, can anybody help themselves? Or are they in a position and condition to help themselves? Which I think is a deeper philosophical, theological conversation that's not necessarily for this talk. But at this point, we're gonna wrap this up. We've already gone longer than we wanted to, so we're gonna keep that in mind. If you made it to this part of the video, much love. May this reach you up, happy and healthy in the land of the living. Key takeaway, to be aware of what it is that you're doing and be able to discern and identify, even if it requires making mistakes, that what you're doing is not necessarily putting you in a position and condition to benefit in the future. So whether that's printing CDs, touring, pouring all your efforts and energy into social media as it is today, because social media today is not going to be what social media is tomorrow. And so all these efforts that get placed into these platforms, some of these platforms may not even exist in 5 years and 10 years. And so it's not to operate in a spirit of fear, but to operate in the spirit of wisdom. Take that with you, do with it what you will, or not. It is a free country.
If you want to hear the rest, tune into the next episode. If you made it to this part of the video, much love and thanks a ton. May this reach you up, happy and healthy in the land of the living. Peace in.